So I want to talk about something that's been trending, and a lot of us just assume and talk. GMO, genetically modified organisms. Okay. Before I define the reason, the name. Okay, let me go straight. What was the full meaning of GMO? GMO means genetically modified organisms. Okay. What is that? What are genetically modified organisms? Genetically modified organism, in layman's term, is anything that is adjusted by the DNA or genetically to enhance the growth or performance of that thing is. So that's what genetically modified. Now, a gentleman called Bill Gates, many of you know Bill Gates, the richest man in the world at one time, felt, okay, I've made enough money. Let me think of how I can contribute and help the world. Okay. And he said, okay, I've looked at the world. There might be in future, there will be hunger, food shortages and all that. And where is the place that had the largest landmass? He said Africa. Now, even though it's doing around the world, let me go to Africa. Now, there's something is sort of called AGRA. Some people call it AGRA, Alliance for Green Radical Africa, Green Radiation Africa. It's called AGRA anyway. So it's set up as an NGO that him and his wife, Melinda Gates, are sponsoring and supporting. Now, what's the function of that group? The function of that group is to set up labs, you set up technicians, food experts, agroeconomics, agro technicians. And what do? They study, they take plants and say, okay, how can we produce more? If we do produce 6 in a year, how do we produce 12? How do we produce 24? If we produce one of this in a year, how do we enhance the growth? That's what GMO is. Now, along the line, there comes Monsanto. There's a company called Monsanto, which has been taken over by, I think, by Bayer. And there's a Corteva, there's genetics, each of. In Nigeria, one of the prominent companies that many of us do not know is called IITA, is in Ibadan. Beautifully run company. That's what they do. Now, I want to say, now what are example of GMOs? Before I go to that, I'll give you an example. I was thinking of going into farming last year, agri especially. So I started asking before I do any business, who was doing it before. So I saw a neighbor. They told me someone that lives in my estate has a farm somewhere in Ekpe. So I went to meet him and invited me over to his farm. I looked at his grows chickens. So I asked him a question. I said, between when you buy the little baby chicks, or what do you call it, and when it grows, how long does it take? And he said depends on what you feed it. He said between 4 to 6 weeks, it goes to the table. I was surprised. I'm like, really? And I asked him, naturally, how long will it take? He said about 6 months, maybe 4 to 6 months, depending on how you feed them. Natural. Now, it now took me back to when I was in England. I used to like these local chickens they sell in Peckham Market. Was it Peckham or Lewisham? I can't remember. We used to go and buy these Turkish people. I used to crave for local chicken. But it takes me back. If you're living in America, Europe, any developed country, and even Africa, and you buy all those, you go to all those eateries, I don't call out the name, 99% of the eateries, the chickens you eat, they are GMO. Okay? They are GMO. Look, the chickens you eat, if you're in Africa and you go to the eateries, 99% of the chickens you eat are GMO. Okay? Now, what do GMO people do? For example, to plant an average corn to harvest it, what like my grandmother does in the village, it takes about 90 to 120 days to grow it. Okay? From when you plant to the. So Bill Gates and co, the people that invest in GMO, came and say, you know what? We have a chemical, not a chemical, we have a plant and a seed. We have these seeds that will sell. You just buy the seed from us, and if you plant, you can actually be harvesting every 60 to 100 days your corn. That means you can operate 3 times in a year. You see the economic impact of that. Okay? For example, chicken that we eat. If I buy a normal agric and let me grow it from birth to get to table, it's going to take about 5 to 6 months. However, the GMO ones will take you about 4 to 8 weeks. You see that? 4 to 8 weeks. That means if you're a farmer, if you're someone into farming or whatever, you love that. Okay? That means you can replicate that method over 10 times in a year. Now, the argument is that, is it better? I don't know. So if you're living in the Western world, that is part of the challenge. Majority of people say it causes cancer, it does this. It might have its side effects. But on the long run, what I'm just trying to say is that GMO has been with us for the past 20 years. It's just that it keeps improving. Now, what is my challenge with the GMO thing? My challenge actually is that these guys that make the seeds, okay, the seeds become very expensive and we become very dependent on them. The big agro companies, those Magentos, those Cotera, those Syngetics, or whatever they call them. But I think on the long run, is what IITA doing bad? No, no, no. They research. They go to an area, like for example, Benue, they do a lot of planting, and they look at their corn, they look at their groundnuts and say, how do we help these people expand more? But as per the propaganda and what people say about it leading to cancer and all that, I can't really, but I know that it cannot be 100% okay. Okay? But if it's that so bad, why hasn't everybody in America died? Because majority, I'll give you an example. If you go to grocery stores in America, Europe, there's what they call organic and non-organic. The GMO foods, they call them non-organic. The organic foods are what you and I eat here. Okay, well, we go to our village, you plant, and the cost is times 3. So imagine if you withdrew all of the other ones and they are selling only organic. And something you're paying $1 for, you're not paying $10 for them, because those are the difference. People will complain about food being too expensive. All right. So I just want to throw this word out there that the GMO products have been with us for the past 20 years. But just so what's causing it? What I think is that it was not properly managed. The government will have been involved in the education of people what GMO are really. Okay. If you go to the market, you eat our tomatoes. You buy chicken, those Cotonou chicken, the chicken they bring in from abroad, those cold room chickens that you eat, turkey. You go to party, Owambe, all those things, they are all GMO. So for those of us crying, they are GMO chickens, most of them. Now the issue and argument is, does it cause cancer? Does it do this? Do people die? That's what I don't know. But I think the government should have handled it better more. Africans want clarity. There should have been someone educating people that this is what it is, that you've been eating it. A lot of the baby foods that you eat has GMO in it. All right? They are not 100% normal. So that's why some people complain, but is it really good? We don't have them anymore. There are more population in the world. People demand for food quicker. Even my local Aboki has their own local GMO. When you see them putting certain things in fertilizer, they enhance banana now to grow. So I do not support most of them. But the only way they can catch up with food production, it has to be some form of GMO or the other. I hope I was able to explain mine to the level that I know. And I wish people from AITA, the lab technicians that will reach out to thank you for helping to clarify this thing. Have a beautiful day. My name is Osita. So if you don't support it, put your comment down below, or if you're for or against, or there's something you think I didn't explain well, or I don't know, you can put your comment below. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.